Some rappers earn their street cred, others are born into it. But Lil Reese, his name turned into something bigger, whispers on the streets that carried a whole different kind of weight. Before the music, he was already making noise in one of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods. And when he started naming names, people paid attention, because those names didn't last long. The world might know him for viral tracks and drill anthems, but in Chiraq, he picked up a much darker nickname, the Grim Reaper. Tavares Taylor, better known in the streets and online as Lil Reese, came up in Englewood, one of the wildest parts of Chicago's South Side. He was raised in a big family inside the infamous Calumet buildings, a 16-story high-rise that had seen everything from poverty to straight-up chaos. That was the environment he called home. And it didn't take long before that environment shaped who he became. Lil Reese was deep in that gang life before he even knew what it was. By the time he was just 3, the older heads already had him throwing up BD signs, calling him their Lil Homie, even got him shooting dice like he was grown. And it wasn't just kid stuff. Reese was hitting the blunt by elementary school, sneaking behind his parents' backs, getting high at just 10. He was locked into the streets early. Him and his crew, names like King Von, Fredo Santana, and Lil Durk, used to snatch bikes, not just joyriding, but taking them from dudes on 63rd. Sometimes they had to bring the strap. It was real out there. By the time Reese hit 11th grade, school wasn't even a thing for him anymore. He got kicked out and went full throttle into the rap game. Around 2010, Reese helped spark the rise of Chicago's drill scene. Alongside Chief Keef and Durk, he dropped early hits like L's Bitch and the street anthem Us. That grimy, aggressive energy caught on fast, but it also drew heat, especially from law enforcement. That same year, Reese caught his first case for burglary and got hit with 2 years probation. Still, that didn't stop the momentum. I Don't Like, a raw, no-frills banger with Chief Keef, was the one that blew everything up. Shot by D Gaines, the video felt like straight street footage, low budget, unfiltered, chaotic. It didn't need flash, it was real. D Gaines didn't even plan it. They were all just turned up in the moment, and once it dropped, it went viral overnight. That was the blueprint for drill visuals from that point on. But with that fame came the spotlight. In 2012, an old video surfaced of Reese arguing with his baby mama, which led to heavy backlash online. He downplayed it at first, but eventually came forward, admitting he was out of pocket and apologized, saying he had grown since then. That same year, Reese dropped a remix of Us featuring Rick Ross and Drake, which landed on Ross's mixtape, The Black Bar Mitzvah. His buzz was officially national. Music videos like Us and Beef had the streets talking. That attention caught the eye of No ID, the legendary producer behind artists like Kanye and Common. Before long, Reese found himself signing to Def Jam. He never dropped an album with them, but it was still a major level up for someone who came from nothing. Still, transitioning from the trenches to the industry wasn't easy. The structure, the business, the politics, it was a new world. But Reese, Keef, and Durk managed to balance it, even as they stayed connected to the streets they came from. But staying close to that street life came with real risks. As Reese's name got bigger, so did the heat around him. One of the loudest threats? Lil Jojo, a GD rapper who already had beef with Durk and Keef, and eventually set his sights on Reese too. Jojo was bold with it, pulling up on Reese in traffic, recording the whole thing like it was content. There's even a clip of them running into each other in the streets, going back and forth, and Reese letting it be known he was with all the smoke. Not long after that, Jojo got shot and killed in the city. From that moment on, it was like something dark had been unleashed. Lil Reese started gaining a rep that was bigger than just music. DJ academics even hyped him up as the Grim Reaper of Chiraq, saying his mentions on Twitter read like an obituary because people Reese called out kept ending up dead. He stamped that image for real by getting a Grim Reaper tatted on his arm. Death and danger became part of his identity. His name was buzzing heavy in the streets and online, but mixing rap fame with street ties, that always comes with a price. By April 2013, the heat started catching up. Reese got hit with charges for driving without a license, no insurance, and not using his signal. But it didn't stop there. Later that same month, police found him knocked out in his car in the Fuller Park neighborhood around 4 a.m. Turned out he had an active warrant from 2012 tied to criminal trespass, mob action, and battery. He got locked up, was sitting on a $100,000 bond. Then in June of that same year, things took another turn. Reese got picked up again, this time for allegedly stealing a BMW. The state claimed he used fake paperwork to get his hands on a 2006 BMW 750 Li. He was arrested on the South Side and brought before the judge, who set his bail at $5,000. But just when people thought it was a wrap, Reese proved the car was actually his, and the case got dropped. Still, even with doors opening for him in music, Reese kept slipping. Just a month later, he was back in cuffs for violating his bail and getting caught with weed. Cops spotted him with known gang members and watched him try to duck off into an alley. That's when they saw him pull out a sandwich bag with some green inside. After a search, it turned out to be weed. They also found over $2,000 in cash on him. When they asked about it, Reese didn't flinch. He basically told them it wasn't that serious and reminded them there were real criminals out there. In his mind, he was just being a gangster. He posted $10,000 and got back to the grind, dropping his mixtape, Super Savage, featuring names like Fredo Santana, Chief Keef, Lil Durk, Waka Flocka, and Wale. But his freedom didn't last long. By July 2014, Reese caught another charge, this time for felony gun possession. He spent the night in Cook County Jail, but posted $50,000 and walked. In 2015, he actually beat that gun charge during a bench trial. He claimed the gun wasn't his, and the judge must have believed him. The guy who sold him the weapon, Jonathan Smalley, later got hit with 5.5 years for bringing guns into Chicago from Mississippi. Still, Reese was getting too familiar with the inside of a jail cell. The next year, 2016, Illinois State Police arrested him during a traffic stop, hitting him with an indirect contempt charge and holding him without bail. But just like before, he was back out in a few days. By now, it looked like the system was trying to clip his wings, but he kept finding his way back to the streets. Eventually, all the drama caught up with his career. After multiple run-ins with the law, Def Jam dropped him, or at least that's what people thought. Later on, in an interview with Academics, Reese told the real story. He actually pushed to get off the label. After a wild incident involving a gun at the studio that cost Def Jam $50,000, he wanted out. According to Reese, being independent was better anyway. He was seeing more money and had full control over his career. But even while Reese was stacking wins on his own, the feds were watching. In May 2018, a joint task force between Chicago PD and the FBI raided his South Loop apartment. They claimed they found $2,200 worth of weed, a scale, and a chunk of cash. But according to Reese, they snatched $100,000 and never gave it back. Luckily, the case ended up getting tossed or beat, but the pressure didn't let up. Still, if life thought it could break Lil Reese, it was dead wrong. Every time the streets tried to take him out, he bounced back harder. But in January 2018, the pain hit different. Reese lost Fredo Santana, his day one, his brother, Chief Keef's big cousin. That one hit the soul. Losing Fredo had him sitting with some heavy thoughts about all the homies he'd lost along the way. But instead of folding, it lit something in him to go even harder for the ones who couldn't. Then came the beef with 6ix9ine. After 6ix9ine threw shade at both Reese and Chief Keef, even after linking up for a collab, Reese was on go. The tension had already boiled over when shots were fired at Chief Keef, and Reese wasn't bluffing either. He made it known that if 6ix9ine slipped up, it'd be game over. But 6ix9ine ended up cooperating with the feds, which came with 24/7's protection. Security guards, cameras, he was tucked in tight. Reese, on the other hand, was still moving around, maybe even watching from the shadows, waiting for a chance to make it right. Despite all the chaos, Reese kept putting out heat. He dropped Get Bang Gang and Get Back Gang 2, letting the music talk. But the war wasn't over. On November 11th, 2019, he got caught slipping again, this time at an intersection in Country Club Hills. On November 11th, 2019, the streets started buzzing. Word got out that Lil Reese had been shot in his home state of Illinois. According to ABC 7, it happened in Country Club Hills, about 25 miles south of Chicago. The report said someone was chasing Reese, hopped out of the car, and fired off with what was called a small rifle before speeding off. Security footage later surfaced, showing someone pulling up next to Reese and letting shots fly, leaving him laid out like they wanted him gone for good. But somebody was looking out for him. A random bystander saw the whole thing go down and didn't hesitate. They scooped Reese up and rushed him over to South Suburban Hospital in Hazel Crest, sticking around until the cops came. Police pulled up around 2:30 p.m. after people in the area reported hearing at least 12 shots. At the scene, they found a car with blood on the driver's seat and pooled underneath the door. Witnesses said they saw someone helping another guy who looked hurt into a car and speeding off. Turns out Reese only got hit once, but that one shot hit him in the neck. Cops started checking nearby hospitals, and sure enough, South Suburban had a man in the ER with a neck wound. TMZ was quick to confirm it was Reese. He was later transferred to Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn and listed in critical condition. Given how known he was in Chicago's drill scene, the whole city was on edge, hoping he'd pull through. No arrests came out of it, but police started looking for a Chevy Malibu with tinted windows and Wisconsin plates. Meanwhile, Lil Durk hopped on Twitter saying Reese was good, even sending blessings to all the trap dudes out there. Reese got out of the hospital just 4 days later on November 15th. That same day, he hopped on Instagram Live to let people see he was still breathing, playing John B. and reading comments, but not saying a word about what happened. The next day, he dropped a new track called Come Outside, likely recorded before the shooting since it didn't mention the incident. Still, Reese was active on Twitter, thanking his fans for all the love and prayers. He showed off the stitches in his neck and posted about how life's a gamble, and he's just lucky to still be here. But he did reveal that it might take up to 2 months for his voice to come back. That hit hard, especially for someone who makes a living with their voice. He said he was sick to his stomach about it, but still grateful to be alive. The recovery journey wasn't easy. Weeks passed, and Reese admitted he was still struggling with his voice. He posted updates saying he prayed every morning for it to come back. Still, he kept pushing, even laying down whisper-style vocals for a track with murder beats. He was clearly fighting to stay in the game. He shared a pic from Saks Fifth looking low-key defeated, but the caption said it all. He might have lost his voice, but he didn't lose his life. He thanked God and reminded everybody that what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Eventually, he sat down with Cam Capone News and opened up about what really went down. Reese said he was just trying to deposit some money when it all happened. He believed the shooters thought he was someone else. After getting hit, he got out of his car, looked around, and seeing nobody, hopped into the car behind him and asked for a ride to the hospital. It was his first time ever getting shot, and when they asked him how it felt, he said he didn't even realize he got hit at first. All he felt was blood running down his neck. In that moment, he thought it might be the end, but he kept moving, telling himself, if I make it, I make it. But crazy thing is, just 2 years later, he'd be caught up in another shootout all over again. In May 2021, things got real wild for Lil Reese. The Chicago rapper ended up caught in a shootout that went down in a downtown parking garage on the near north side. It all started when a man tracked down his son's stolen Dodge Durango using a GPS tracker. The man and his pops pulled up to a high-rise apartment complex to confront whoever had the vehicle, and that's when all hell broke loose. According to reports, once they found the stolen SUV, shots rang out. One group opened fire on the Durango, and that's when the car crashed into a pillar. After that, both sides started letting off shots, turning the garage into a full-blown war zone. By the time the smoke cleared, 3 people had been hit, including Lil Reese. Police got the call around 9:50 in the morning and arrived to find 3 men shot, ages 20, 27, and 28. The Durango was still there, all shot up, and officers said it looked like a straight shootout between 2 groups. Nobody was arrested on the spot, and detectives launched an investigation. Then came the viral footage. A shaky video surfaced showing a chaotic scene. A man in a hoodie with bloodstained pants was stumbling out of the garage. Another man, slumped against a wall, looked half-conscious while bleeding heavily. Many believed that was Reese. A woman screamed out, calling him out by name, while another man yelled that his car had been stolen. Reese was later identified as the one grazed in the eye and rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Despite how bad it looked, he was listed in fair condition, and his team went online asking fans for prayers. Later that day, Reese posted to his Instagram story saying, "God is great," with the prayer hands emoji. But the story didn't end there. Reese told police he wasn't part of any car theft. He said he was simply there to buy some weed. He claimed he met up with the people in the Durango outside and led them into the garage for the deal. Witnesses described the scene as strange, especially considering the garage was connected to a luxury high-rise. As the internet ran wild with speculation, Reese jumped on Snapchat to shut down the rumors, saying he wasn't blind, didn't steal no car, and wasn't involved in any fight like people claimed. He later broke it all down in a 3-part interview with Fuchsia's TV, saying people ran up shooting, and when he tried to get away, a crowd swarmed him yelling that he stole the car. Police then slammed him into a pole, causing the head injuries seen in the video. According to Reese, that's where all the blood came from, not the gunfire. He was never arrested or charged in connection to the shootout or the stolen car, just a victim in the wrong place at the wrong time, he said. Trolls like 6ix9ine wasted no time clowning him online, making jokes, sarcastically saying pray for him, and even posting a fake GoFundMe asking for help buying Reese a new car. But if that wasn't enough drama, just weeks later, Reese got locked up again. Around 10:30 p.m. on May 29th, he was arrested after his girlfriend told police they got into a heated argument that allegedly turned physical. Officers showed up and saw a cut on her lip. She claimed Reese pulled her hair and hit her. He got booked and released on $10,000 bond, but Reese said the whole thing was blown out of proportion, that someone saw them arguing and called the cops, and that once police realized who he was, they locked him up off his name. He stood on it, saying he never laid a hand on her. Then came May 2022, and Lil Reese got caught up in some more mess. This time he was arrested down in Texas and booked into Harris County Jail on May 19th for aggravated assault against a family member. Off the rip, they didn't even give him a shot at bail. It wasn't until May 24th that a judge finally set it at $60,000, but nobody came through to pay it. Court records said his next hearing wasn't till August 16th, so Reese was looking at a stretch behind bars. The whole situation was real low-key, details kept tight. But what made it worse? Just 2 days before the arrest, Reese had welcomed a baby girl. You could tell it hit him deep. He had just posted on Instagram calling her beautiful and saying how overwhelmed he was in that moment. Thankfully, after a pre-trial hearing, one of the charges got dropped, and according to records, Reese was eventually released. But that peace didn't last long. In September 2023, a clip popped up from Reese's Instagram Live that had people heated. It showed him and his crew messing with a homeless man who was just trying to sleep on the street. One dude poured some liquid on him while the rest gassed it up. And Reese? He kept the camera rolling, even threw in some laughing emojis like it was a joke. The backlash came fast. His comments got lit up with hate, people dragging him, calling it foul, unnecessary, and straight up disgusting. And just like that, old rumors started resurfacing too. To his credit, Reese responded. He posted an apology online and hit the streets with his crew to give back, handing out food, money, and supplies to homeless people. In the footage that circulated afterward, he was seen passing out cash himself, trying to right the wrong and make a change. He promised to continue giving back to the community twice a month going forward. Just a month later, in October 2023, another wave of chaos hit. This time, false reports started spreading that Lil Reese had been shot multiple times. Big blogs like DJ Academics even picked it up, but it turned out to be completely fake. Reese quickly shut the rumors down through texts shared by fellow rapper Kayla B, making it clear that he was alive and well. He even asked for screenshots of the blogs that ran with the story, clearly fed up with the nonsense. Then came yet another messy moment. That same month, a video went viral of Reese getting into it with a group of women in Chicago. The clip showed him shoving, swinging, and even grabbing a woman by the neck. The full story behind it never really came out, but it definitely didn't help his already fragile public image. Just 2 months later, in December 2023, Reese got hit with something way heavier. Right in the middle of the holidays, he lost his sister. He broke the news in a heartbreaking IG post saying he was completely torn up. She was only 32 and left behind 2 kids. Reese didn't share much and his family kept it quiet too, but you could tell it rocked him to the core. And even with all that pain, the next year had even more storms waiting for him. In July 2024, Lil Reese found himself in hot water once again, this time in Los Angeles. And the charge? Sexual assault. Word is, he had been out on a dinner date with a woman, and afterward they went back to his downtown LA hotel room. That's where things reportedly went left. The woman claimed Reese pushed for sex, and even after she told him no, he allegedly forced himself on her. After the alleged assault, the woman went straight down to the hotel lobby and told the staff what had happened. That's when the police got called out to the scene. They pulled up and without wasting time, arrested Reese on suspicion of committing a crime right there at the hotel. And guess who just happened to be on the scene? Boozy Badass. He didn't waste a second before jumping on social media, letting the world know what had just gone down. He said Reese came out in handcuffs with all his bags in tow and called on Reese's people to check in. Boozy even hinted that the woman might have been lying, though he didn't go into detail. He was clearly trying to get ahead of the story and let Reese's circle know something serious had just happened. Reese dropped that $100,000 bond and came out swinging. He jumped on IG stories and went straight at blogs like The Shade Room and TMZ, calling them out for spreading straight lies. He wasn't biting his tongue, called the whole situation bogus, said the woman was capping hard, even labeled her claims as pure BAP. According to Reese, she tried to run off with $25,000 and fumbled the play. He stood 10 toes down, swearing on his sister that none of it was true, and he made it real clear. When this case gets tossed, he wants the media to keep that same energy they had when the accusations first hit, and he got his wish. When his court date came around, the judge tossed the case. Reese even posted the official court doc to shut down any doubts. But just when it looked like things were turning around, another storm was brewing. In September 2024, TMZ reported that a warrant was out for Reese's arrest, this time in Houston. The Houston Police Department claimed he had assaulted a woman at a club called the Pink House, aka Barbie nightclub. According to them, Reese had bumped into his ex-girlfriend there, and things allegedly got heated. She told cops Reese tried to kiss her, and when she rejected him, he snapped, allegedly punching her in the face and grabbing her by the neck with both hands. She said she was gasping for air and legit feared for her life. Witnesses were reportedly on the scene and stepped in to break things up. One of her friends flagged security, and before long, police were on the way. But by the time they showed up, Reese had already dipped. The woman had visible marks, red bruising and scratch marks on her neck. At that point, things got real serious. Yet, Reese's legal team didn't say a word at first. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and an eyewitness told TMZ they saw Reese at the Address nightclub in Houston. Apparently, cops were already there for something else, but once they got wind that Reese was in the building, they moved in quickly. He got arrested right there on the spot. In the photos that surfaced, Reese looked dead serious, both during the arrest and in his mugshot. No emotion, no words, just straight-faced. His attorney, Carl Moore, came out soon after, denying everything. He said Reese was innocent and ready to fight the charges in court. Even though Reese was initially held without bond, he was later released on a $60,000 bond while his case played out. But it didn't end there. On October 16, 2024, down in Harris County, Texas, Lil Reese was found guilty of putting his hands on his ex-girl and got hit with a 5-year sentence. Right now, he's sitting in the Garza West unit with a projected release date of February 6, 2029. But there's still a shot he could catch parole as early as August 2026. The woman in the case was Kamani, the mother of his daughter, Kyrie. She later appeared on the Fly Girls Talk podcast and opened up about her rocky past with Reese. She said their relationship had been toxic and revealed he once pulled a gun on her while she was pregnant. According to Kamani, it happened during a heated argument where she felt so threatened that she grabbed a knife just to defend herself. She said it was never about trying to hurt him. She was just trying to protect herself and her unborn baby. She remembered him wrestling her for a phone while she was deep into her pregnancy. But the moment he pulled out that gun, that was it. To her, that felt like the ultimate betrayal. She even reached out to his moms after, hoping Reese would get some help, maybe check into rehab or something. But that never happened. Even locked up, Reese kept his connection to the streets alive. He dropped a flick from behind bars on his IG story with Lil Durk's love songs for the streets playing in the background. But what really had people talking was how different he looked. Some said he was giving Jalen Green vibes. Others joked he looked like Thugnificent from the Boondocks. One fan even cracked, ain't seen him since they jumped the poo-poo out of him. But through all the drama, headlines, and legal heat, one thing's for sure, Lil Reese's story isn't over. And by the looks of it, the road ahead still looks really bumpy. What are your thoughts on this story? Appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more.